So let's talk more about Daniel and the lion's den.
You have no idea what it cost to get this lighting. So we got this, and then we have my lamp with a pink torn up rag on it, and then my TV with a white screen. So this is what it takes for good lighting, isn't that right? Show me. Hey everyone, this is some random guy and God, and welcome to the fourth video of this Into the Word series. My cameraman is dying on the other side. Since he's already making his presence known, why don't we just go ahead and introduce the cameraman in the life of the show, my brother.
Hello.
Some random brother and God. Hello, how are you?
Good.
Good. I assigned you guys to read chapters 4 through 5. Do you know anything about Genesis 4 through 5?
If you tell me the story, maybe.
His eyes dilated as he was thinking, and it was kind of insane. I watched them go like, ooh. It's like, wow. So, chapter 4 is about Cain and Abel.
No.
You don't remember that story?
No.
That's a good thing I'm making this video then. Maybe this video's for you!
Yay!
So right off the bat, verse 1 says, Now Adam knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain. They had a child together.
Oh.
Apparently, I just looked this up, so it was very hasty. According to sheknows.com, it is a Hebrew name, shocking. It means spear or possessed. Which I guess kind of makes sense because of what happens later, albeit he doesn't use a spear, or does he?
We shall never know until we read the whole thing.
And so they had Cain first, and then they had Abel. Abel kept sheep, and Cain was a worker of the ground. So Abel worked with sheep, Cain worked with vegetables. And the Lord had regard for Abel and his offering, but for Cain and his offering he had no regard, because Abel gave of his firstborn, and that was quite the sacrifice to make, because you weren't really sure if that sheep was going to conceive again. That could have been the first and last, offspring they'd ever had, and so it was a big deal. For Cain and his offering he had no regard. So Cain was very angry, and his face fell. Verse 6. The Lord said to Cain, Why are you angry, and why has your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. Its desire is for you, but you must rule over it. Verse 8, Cain spoke to Abel his brother, and when they were in the field, Cain rose up against his brother Abel and killed him.
Okay, that's why it means spear.
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't really say what he killed him with. I've always read in different kid Bibles and different translations that he got a stone and killed him, but maybe he did get a spear. What does your translation say?
This one day Cain suggested to his brother, Let's go out into the field, and while they were in the field, he attacked his brother and killed him.
It doesn't say what with. Could be a spear.
Could be a stone attached to a stick.
Yeah. Then the Lord said to Cain, Where is Abel your brother? Again, remember in Genesis, it was in 3. God was walking through the garden looking for Adam and Eve, and he gave them the chance. He was like, Where are you? He was looking for them, giving them a chance to fess up. This is kind of what God's doing again. This happens time and time again in the Bible. He'll be like, God will ask a question he already knows the answer to. He's trusting us to answer it the way that he wants us to. He's giving us an opportunity because he's given us free will. So that's cool that he's doing it here again. And then Cain said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? Cain got sassy with the Lord. And that's something that's really interesting. This isn't very important, but it's kind of interesting to think about. God spoke to Cain. Does that mean like he was still with them, like in present, like this? Was God like this talking to Cain, or was it like
Moses and the fire bush.
right? Or maybe it was like that, or maybe it was a thought passing his head. It's interesting. Never thought about that before. So he says, I don't know, am I my brother's keeper? And the Lord said, what have you done? Cain did not even explain what he had done. Like, God knew, of course, but he was like, bro! What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. And now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, it shall no longer yield to you its strength. You shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth. Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, you have driven me today away from the ground, and from your face I shall be hidden. I shall be a fugitive and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me. Then the Lord said to him, not so. If anyone kills Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord put a mark on Cain, lest any who found him should attack him. Then Cain went away from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. That is so interesting, actually, because, like, it kind of goes back to, I think it was chapter 3 again, when Adam and Eve messed up royally. They royally messed up. Like, it was terrible. They doomed all of humanity. But then God was like, here's some clothes. Like, clothe yourself and, like, please take care of yourself. He's kind of showing, like, his fatherly love for Cain. Because Cain was like, people are going to kill me. And God was like, no, I've got you. Like, I'm going to take care of you. Even though you did a terrible thing, I still love you. And I'm going to take care of you. And that shows his fatherly love for us. And it goes all the way back to Genesis. Like, that's really cool. Here's a verse that says he was the same today as he was yesterday, and he'll be the same forever. Not in that wording, but that's the gist of it. And it's like, that is so true, because we see it throughout the entirety of the Bible in our lives as well.
Yes.
Exactly. Blah. So we're going to skip most of this and go down like 25. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and called his name Seth. And then we go into chapter 5. Well, so Abel means breath, vapor, or sun. Jinx.
And it's Hebrew.
It is Hebrew. Anyway.
Please edit that out.
We'll see. We're gonna do 5. It's mostly genealogies, so we might not,
We might not make it.
we might not make it. We have a new addition to the group. I want to welcome my sister. She's wearing God's promise.
The rainbow.
Adam's descendants to Noah. This is the book of the generations of Adam. When God created man, he made him in the likeness of God, calling back to Genesis 1 and 2. That's cool. All the days of Adam were 930 years, and he died. He was 930 years old. That's an old fart.
Imagine.
How many lifetimes is that?
That's 9.
9
That's pretty
or
simple
like,
math.
like maybe 11, depending on how long you live.
Imagine looking like dirt.
We're looking at you, Adam.
Just like every day you look in the mirror, just grain.
That's actually terrifying. Oh my god.
That's kind of sad.
Why do I want to cry right now? Okay, moving on. This is supposed to be the living word.
Stop touching my feet! You
It's kind of hard not to. We're all angled in. And then it tells Seth had Enosh.
Imagine being named Enosh.
I know. Enosh had Kenan. Kenan had Mahalalel.
Malalala.
That's it. Mahalalel.
Malalala.
And then Mahalalel.
Same thing.
Mahalalel.
Mahalala.
He had Jared.
What? I
Mahalalel had Jared. And then Jared had Enoch. Okay, so there's another Enoch. That's interesting.
You know.
Now this, we need to go over this. It's a mystery, but we need to go over it. Verse 21 and verse 5, when Enoch had lived, the lighting is crazy. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he fathered Methuselah. Methuselah is the oldest man in the Bible.
I thought that was a girl, low-key.
No.
I don't know why I thought
That's
that.
Medusa. Greek mythology.
Wrong book. So Enoch, verse 22, walked with God after he fathered Methuselah for 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Thus, all the days of Enoch were 365 years.
How old did Methuselah live?
Like 1,000.
Pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, he was old.
Imagine living from
Art.
like 1900 to 20. Wait, no, not 2000. Well, actually.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, no, that's 100 years.
Yeah, I knew it. 100.
Whoa.
Wait a minute. You're right.
I
Holy
knew
cow.
it.
It'd
So-
be like, no, it'd be like 1900 to 2000.
2019. I mean, no.
2900.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
2,900.
Yeah.
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 Enoch is the one we're focusing on right now. Verse 24, Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him.
For God took him.
Can you, yeah,
What do you mean for God took him?
that's what it says. What the heck does that mean?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean?
Took him out of life.
What do I mean? What does the Bible mean? What does God mean?
Like,
Well,
does,
Moses wrote this, actually, so what does Moses mean?
does that mean he died? Or did he just, like, take his body up to heaven?
That again.
What does yours say, Brennan?
Hmm?
Yours is the easier version. Where is it
No.
at? No. Verse 25.
Chapter 5.
Walking in close fellowship with God, then one day he disappeared because God took him. So does that mean he took his whole body? Since he
I
did that?
think so.
Like, you just...
That's what I think.
Imagine waking up and your body just... in heaven.
I know. That's pretty much, I think, what happened.
Like, am I dead? You're alive.
Whoa. So that's
I'm
a
sorry.
mystery. We don't know necessarily why God took him.
Stop it.
I just assume that he had such a great relationship with God that God was like, "You're coming with me, fam."
Uppy, okay.
So Enoch had Methuselah. Methuselah had Lamech, and then Lamech had Noah. He had Noah. And called his name Noah, saying, "Out of the ground that the Lord has cursed this one shall bring us relief from our work and from the painful toil of our hands." Lamech lived 777 years.
I wouldn't want to live that long, personally.
I wouldn't either. I think our lifetime's pretty nice.
Yeah. Maybe 200, but...
Yeah. Anyway, so Noah fathered
Shem,
Shem,
Ham,
Ham,
and Japheth.
Japheth.
Jeff.
Japheth.
And that's all of 5. And there's not necessarily a theme of this, but if I were to pick one, it would be
Yeah.
we are our brother's keepers. Next time, let's read Genesis 6 and
Maybe 7.
7.
Apparently...
Song of the Week, Sea of Victory, go listen to it. It's amazing.
Yes.
By Elevation Worship. It's
It's
amazing.
like a seagull.
He did. Let's applaud our guest stars. And he tooted.
So fun.
So fun. Ow. Ow.
Love your brothers and sisters, Brennan.
Yeah.
That was literally just a lesson.
Be your brother's keeper.
He's
That means
not
don't
my
hit him.
brother.
We're gonna cut it now before DHS comes in. This has been Some Random Guy and God
With
and some random
siblings.
with random siblings.